Donald has been treating DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, the illegal, unconstitutional fake agency that Elon Musk started without congressional approval, as if it were the crown jewel of his little monarchy. And he's been stating repeatedly how Elon is doing a great job hacking away at government waste, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, while simultaneously, of course, giving absolutely no examples or evidence of how this is the case. Well, I think it's worth checking in to see just how great Doge is doing. Watch this.
Last week alone, the Trump administration began laying off nearly 7,000 IRS staffers. It fired around 1,000 newly hired National Park Service workers and abruptly let dozens of FDA employees go, only to reinstate some of them. Along the way, Musk has publicly released what he calls a wall of receipts, broadcasting what he now says is $65 billion in total estimated savings. But a New York Times analysis found that the wall is, quote, marred with accounting errors, incorrect assumptions, outdated data, and other mistakes amounting to what the Times calls a pattern of recklessness, which all raises a question. Even if concerns about the size of our federal bureaucracy are valid, is this hack now, ask questions later approach actually the most efficient strategy?
Well, yeah, reckless, incompetent, victims of the Dunning-Kruger effect, sure. And yes, it has been reported that nearly 40% of the federal contracts canceled by the new regime under its cost-cutting initiative are not expected to save any money. And this is according to the regime's own data. Doge recently published a list of 1,125 terminated contracts. Of these, 417 cancellations are expected to yield no savings because the contract funds have already been fully allocated and the government is legally required to spend them. But that suggests to me that if the money's already been spent, you cancel the contracts, the work's not going to be done. You just set a lot of money on fire. Well, that makes sense because both Donald Trump and Elon Musk are expert at that. So I don't want to be too on the nose here, but you know, fair is fair. This lack of efficiency could be connected to a deeper oversight. It's been reported that Doge is gutting federal agencies at Donald's command, as if he knows anything, using AI driven software to decide who gets fired next. No oversight, no accountability. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want any software that doesn't know how many fingers human beings have to make those kinds of decisions for me or for the entire country. The Trump regime is using AI to determine necessary employees. I'd be fascinated to know like what kind of data they're plugging in for AI to make those kinds of determinations. Emails sent to federal workers last weekend demanding a list of accomplishments might have something to do with it. Yes, the answers are reportedly being fed into an AI system to assess whether an employee is necessary to the government. That sounds like a sound way to go, by which I mean it sounds deeply, deeply stupid. Wired is reporting that Doge engineers working for Doge are modifying AutoRIF, a decades old Defense Department software to automate large scale terminations of federal workers. The AutoRIF system generates lists ranking employees subject to firings based on tenure, performance, and quote unquote mission critical status. HR officials are supposed to review the list manually, but sources fear AI driven automation could expedite the reckless and again, extremely inefficient nature of these continued layoffs. And this is what happens when you let people like Elon Musk and his unvetted minions run amok. There's no rating them in because who's going to? The House of Republicans in the House of Representatives have abdicated all responsibility, and Donald's brain continues to bleed out of his ears. Um, if you have a pulse, and I think it's safe to say most of us do, all of this is bound to make your heart rate go through the roof because there's a lot happening all across America. Um, let's look at some of what's happening in town halls. Play the clip.
When are you going to wrest control as the Congress back from the executive and stop hurting your constituents? It's over!
It's not up to Musk.
You're surrendering to billionaires, you coward!
The American people voted for change in November.
Oops. Okay, so what we witnessed there are Americans who are not only upset, but they're using their First Amendment right to express their anger and their discontent, which means a lot of them are paying attention, which is a really good thing. But what's weird about Republicans and the First Amendment is that they're always willing to protect it when it's their voices, but maybe not so much about those who oppose them. This was extremely evident during another town hall, which turned violent. Play the clip.
There's an opportunity for you to sound off, but not right now. And because you're not smart enough to know that, get them out. If you can't be civil, get out.
Get up or be arrested.
So you know, folks, when our nation began,
Arrest
there
her?
was some really
You're gonna arrest her?
Just talk for on and on and on. And look at this. This little girl is afraid to leave. She spoke up where these folks are shut this whole program down. Unfortunately, they're being successful. So all of you. So how about that? Come on, Musk.
Hey!
It's too bad that we have some hundred. We know that government has been mismanaging money for decades, and Elon Musk is getting up there.
All right, I hope she sues them for so much money that that entire town goes bankrupt. I hope those thugs are imprisoned for a very, very long time. I have questions. First of all, this was from a town hall meeting, not really a town hall, if you can get arrested for, I don't know, talking, in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Shocking. On Saturday, February 22nd, 3 employees of Lear Asset Management forcibly removed Teresa Barnpole from a legislative town hall for heckling. The security firm was not visibly identified and operated in plain clothes in violation of city code. Police Chief Lee White criticized the action, stating, quote, "It's not appropriate for law enforcement to remove someone for speaking out of turn," unquote. Slight problem. They were not law enforcement, sir. The city is investigating potential violations, including whether Lear's security license allows such actions. Is there a license that allows private security to brutalize and apprehend an American citizen for absolutely no reason? That would be fascinating and very dangerous. Sheriff Norris personally attempted to remove Barnpole before directing security to, quote unquote, get her. He later denied knowing the security firm's role, but was seen overseeing the removal. Norris has allegedly threatened to pepper spray Barnpole and has since received death threats over the incident. So sad. Barnpole bit one of the security guards during the altercation, while initially cited for misdemeanor battery. The charge is under review after new video evidence surfaced showing the sequence of events before the police arrived. Witnesses described the forcible removal as violent, with Barnpole thrown to the ground, dragged out, and nearly stripped of her clothing. She recalled the panic of the moment, saying, quote, "I didn't know if I was being arrested by the sheriff's office or if I was being kidnapped," unquote. Beyond the civil liberties concerns, there's also a legal problem. Coeur d'Alene requires private security agents to wear clear identification, which Lear's personnel failed to do. White says the firm could lose its license for violating city ordinances. Well, I really hope they lose a lot more than that. That is it, guys. That is what the Gestapo looks like. Those are the jackbooted thugs. Those are the black shirts and the brown shirts who feel so empowered right now because of the jackbooted thugs in the Oval Office. That was a town hall in which the congressperson holding it seemed to be filibustering because he did not want to hear anything his constituents had to say. When one constituent raised her voice to make a point, he was having none of it. And she was asked to leave for no reason. And if she didn't resist, she was told she would be arrested. Well, you cannot be arrested by people who are not police officers. Also, police officers cannot, or at least should not be able to arrest you if you have done absolutely nothing but speak in public, in a public forum to which you have every right to be. I don't know if you heard, but during the altercation, let's call it what it is, during the attack and forcible removal of this woman by private security, which was not adhering to any of the statutes required by the city, the congressperson engaged in a little bit of misogyny. Oh, that little girl is too afraid to leave. Too afraid to leave? Leaving would have been the easy thing. Staying, exercising your First Amendment rights in this environment? That's the thing that takes guts. You coward. You who hide behind Donald Trump's skirts and kiss Elon Musk's ass. You're the coward. I have to say, I was a bit disappointed that other people at that town hall did not react better. So we know what is now possible at Republican town halls in America. Be advised, if you are there and you see something like that happen to somebody else who is simply trying to exercise their First Amendment rights, please stand up for them because they're standing up for you by reminding all of us that we still have a constitution, at least for now. As this botched security crackdown gains national attention, one thing is very clear. Republicans want to maintain control over the conversation because they don't want to hear what anybody else has to say, and they know they're wrong, and they don't have a leg to stand on. It's not going to be that easy, though, because the truth is House Republicans are continuing to get hammered by their own constituents over layoffs from DOGE. So what do? They can continue to go down the road they're going down, which seems to be easy for them. They can act disgracefully. They can act against their constituents' own best interests. They can fail miserably to uphold their oaths to the Constitution in the United States of America. Yeah, I think that would be hard for probably all of them. No, sorry, that would be the easy part. Or they could see the writing on, well, they see the writing on the wall. They can actually read the writing on the wall and confront Donald. Make sure he gets rid of Elon Musk. Make sure that he stops acting illegally and unconstitutionally on an almost daily basis. Those are their two choices. If they go down the latter road, well, you know what? They may be able to participate in helping us get our democracy back. Otherwise, I think they could probably kiss their chances of reelection goodbye, or at least that would be the case for many of them. They need to be reminded that they work for us, not for Donald, and certainly not for Elon Musk. And they don't just work for their Republican constituents who voted for this insanity. They work for everybody in their districts, red, blue, or otherwise. This might be a trick question. You let me know. Do you know which road Marjorie Greene took? Play the clip.
You can protest all you want outside of departments of this government. You can protest all you want, but the American people disagree with you. You're protecting the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is not a business. Those are not real jobs producing federal revenue. By the way, they're consuming taxpayer dollars. Those jobs are paid for by the American tax people who work real jobs, earn real income, pay federal taxes, and then pay these federal employees. Federal employees do not deserve their jobs. Federal employees do not deserve their paychecks. And these are jobs that can be fired at will.
Was there a mirror in front of her? There has to have been. You're a federal employee, you idiot. You don't deserve your job and you don't deserve your paycheck. I mean, seriously, all you do is, like, I don't know, hate people, talk about Jewish space lasers, and come up with really stupid legislation that will never pass. That doesn't sound like a productive use of a representative's time. Anyway, thankfully, not every Republican representative is as stupid as Marjorie Greene, or at least, but no, I was going to say pretending, but I think she's actually legitimately stupid. But there are a few of them who decided that maybe it was time to go talk to Donald. Representative Rich McCormick, also a Republican from Georgia, who is he, if he has any sanity or shame, is kind of horrified by his colleague. He's the guy who faced outraged voters at one of his recent town halls, and he admitted he's a little desperate now for damage control, because if you ever saw a clip of that, he didn't have any control of anything, let alone damage. He says, quote, "If we have layoffs at the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, some people are going to be affected. The question is, do we give people time to adjust to their lives?" Unquote. Well, I mean, that's probably further than most Republicans have gone. He said that to NBC News during an interview. McCormick plans to bend Donald's ear at an upcoming White House meeting with House GOP freshmen, and will also press Musk directly for more compassion. Well, maybe this guy isn't as smart or is even smarter than Greed after all. McCormick even threw Musk's own words back at him. Quote, "Ironically, the first time I ever met Elon Musk, he was asked, 'What could Republicans do better?' And his response was, 'I think you guys could come across as more compassionate.' So I'm going to use his own words when I talk to him." Good luck with that. Representative Scott Fitzgerald, Republican from Wisconsin, who's another lawmaker who was grilled by his constituents at a town hall, admitted that Republicans have no real answers about DOGE's plans. Quote, "It would be better, I think, for members to have real specific information because we don't have it. I don't have it," he told reporters. "I don't know what they're looking at, and we don't know what the numbers are. I'm learning about this when I see a broadcast as much as anyone else," unquote. The lack of communication from Donald and Musk is leaving Republicans blindsided. They're stuck defending layoffs they don't even understand. They continue to remain loyal to Donald and seem not to care that Musk has no place in our government whatsoever. And yet they're struggling to protect their voters, but they're also struggling to protect their own political futures. And it's very difficult to decide how you can do all of that at the same time without something giving. The answer is you can't. So here we are, at a point where Republicans are realizing what's happening. They're recognizing their lack of control. And I just have one last piece of advice for them. Maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't have handed over all of your constitutionally given authority to a bunch of Nazis. Please take a second and like and share this video. Be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please follow us and give the show a 5-star rating, because it really does help other people find our content. Thanks.